This week on Coyote Country, join good friend Scott Nato and I as we planned our very own do-it-yourself fly-in moose hunt during late September to the remote northeastern region of Alberta. With Scott being the only one sporting an antlered moose tag and yours truly behind the camera, we both had our vision set on bringing back a mature and respectable sized bull moose. But unfortunately, this hunt led to an ultimate decision a hunter and cameraman sometimes have to face when trying to capture adventures on film. But enough said, let's get to that moose action. We hope you enjoy. Hi there and welcome to Coyote Country. This week's show is a significant episode as we have finally reached episode 13, which means all our blood, sweat and tears in putting together and sharing with you our adventures of Coyote Country has officially come to an end.
Yes, time sure does fly, but it certainly was a rewarding experience and definitely something we're proud to have achieved. But we're still not quite done yet, as we have Scott's fly-in moose hunt to share with you. So let's get to the action.
So we're all packed up here. I'm with my good friend Scott. And we got 860 pounds of gear and we're ready to take off on our fly-in moose adventure. I don't know about Scott, and I'm just running the camera, but I haven't been able to sleep the last couple nights. Pretty excited. How about you, Scott?
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, let's see what the day has in store for us. We're gonna fly out here, set up camp, and be able to show you some footage as we're flying off. One never realizes until you get way up in the air the vast differences in terrain and vegetation. We noted countless creeks and rivers on our flight in, but the majority of the area was either vast low-lying muskeg areas or areas that were once large jack pine forests that had been touched by fires over recent years. Finally, as we looked up ahead, we could see our destination lake, and the plane made a big circle and got ready to touch down the floats. Needless to say, Scott and I were super excited in what our adventure would bring, but not before we had a plane full of gear to unload. Well, bud,
We made her.
we're all unpacked, and now it's just you and me. And a bunch of sandflies. Oh, I forgot how bad they are here. Well, we're gonna go try to set up, see if we can find a place on an island to do camp and get it all moved and set up before it gets dark. So we got some work to do here, but loving it though. So we're just unpacking stuff here and we're scouting out our camp. And right where the plane dropped this off, I don't know if it's an omen, but I don't know if you can see that right here, but we got ourselves a moose track. And so it looks pretty fresh. It's old, and we're thinking, how do we know what kind of moose it is? Scott? How do we know what kind of moose that is? What did we find not too far away, or what did you find?
Some sign right here. I broke
yeah,
the birch tree off.
some busted up birch trees. I would say that's, how tall is that up there?
7 feet, maybe 8.
Right on. Good sign.
An omen.
That brings day one to a close. No moose spotted, but we've explored a lot of country. Saw some moose sign. Scott caught a few pike. And now we're gonna have some chili for supper in front of a warm fire with a awesome view. Now, unfortunately, there's never enough time to fully share with you the days that Scott and I experienced in this remote wilderness setting we were in. But we had fun exploring this new region with all the interconnected lakes and found ourselves doing many portages into small remote lakes where we hoped we would catch the attention of a mature bull moose. The weather was a little warm and windy for culling, considering we were at the tail end of September, which is undoubtedly the peak of the moose rut. But we didn't let it get us down as we continued to try and work our magic, as we knew sooner or later a bull with the right mindset would come and check us out, or so we hoped. Now, the following morning, Scott and I had a ritual where I'd get up an hour before daylight and head out of the tent and let out a couple of cow calls. If there was no response in a short while later, then we'd head back in the tent and get started on breakfast. Now, up until this point, we didn't have any takers, but shortly after breakfast, Scott was outside getting his gear ready for the morning hunt when he thought he heard a bull grunt. So we both stopped and listened, but we didn't hear a thing. Then a couple of minutes later, when I was outside getting my gear ready, I heard the unmistakable "oh" of a bull moose grunt off in the distance. When I looked up, to my amazement, there he was across the bay, right in front of our camp. I was so excited because up until this point, we didn't have a moose on film yet. But this young bull had enough and was already leaving, likely since he hadn't heard a cow call for well over an hour. So I quickly dove into the tent to grab the camera and gave one quick cow call, and well, that's all it took, as this bull gave a 180-degree turn and was coming our way. Now, to give you some perspective, the distance from where the bull entered the water to our island was approximately 100 to 150 yards away. Once I saw that bull step into the water and swim in our way, I knew it was going to be a close encounter once he stepped foot on our little island. Up to this point, I was so zoned in with the bull, I didn't even realize that Scott wasn't beside me. Obviously, Scott had to hear the bull getting closer, but where was he? Then I thought, well, maybe Scott's on the far side of the island, which is only 50 to 60 yards wide. So I whispered Scott's name a couple of times, but I didn't get a response. I didn't have much time to waste as this bull was about to step foot on our little island, and I wasn't in a very good position to capture it on film. So I quickly started sneaking through the trees to get into position, and well, that's when I bumped into Scott. And well, let's just say Scott was preoccupied with what I'll call paperwork, if you know what I mean. Talk about your bad timing. But back to the story. So both Scott and I are both hurrying along, getting close to the end of the island, when the bull stepped foot on the shore. And well, let's just let the footage speak for itself.
He's a freaking hog. Oh my God. Coyote country, don't go away because you got to see this one. Oh my God.
Be more action coming your way. Let's let her go.
See you next time. Oh.
Join Coyote Country on Facebook for live updates or check us out at coyotecountry.ca.
Remember earlier when I mentioned Scott was off doing some paperwork? What if I told you if Scott had still been sitting on that log, that the bull would have passed only a couple of yards away on the far side of the log? I bet Scott's still glad that he wasn't sitting there. Otherwise, when that bull came in, it would have been a very close and very awkward situation.
How cool was that?
Really, really cool. That was something.
How close did we get to him? Or he get to us?
10 yards. Right there.
And right behind the camp. The tent's right there. Called him from over there. Remember when we were eating oatmeal?
Yep.
And I said I thought I heard something?
Yep. He was right there.
Boy, he was vocal. Still is.
Swam across the lake.
Now before we roll the footage, this is the part of the hunt where the hunter and the cameraman were faced in making a quick yet very important decision.
So it's the morning of day 5 here, and every worst cameraman's nightmare, I guess, is last night when we were portaging through here. There was about 10 minutes of daylight left, and I decided to do some calling right from this vantage point. And as you can see, there's some lakes off in the distance. And then a couple minutes later, Scott and I heard a crack. We were rummaging around through our packs and stuff, and we heard a crack, and I asked him, was that you? And then what did we hear next? Yeah, one big grunt. And how close would you say?
Oh, within 100 yards.
Oh yeah, easy 100 yards and closing in fast. So fast that unfortunately we weren't able to get the camera out, and really there wouldn't have been enough camera light. So now Scott made 3 fast shots on it, but it was standing right over here. Basically it started off in this bush. It was right down in here, and then it tried to circle downwind. And then this is where the shooting happened, right in that gap. And it took off. We gave him some time. We decided to finish off our portages, drag the canoe back and stuff. But by then darkness set in. So we tried looking with flashlights real quick, couldn't find them. Decided to hold off until morning, and here we are at this point. So unfortunately, didn't get the kill shot, but it looks like a nice bull. I'd say over 45 inch for sure, but now let's see if we can find him. So we've been at it here for an hour this morning, running grids, keeping ourselves about 100 meters apart. And then we just busted a cow. Scott thinks it's a cow, but I thought it was a bull. But anyways, we're still not sure what we're gonna... Hey Scott, what's that dark thing over there?
It's him!
Right there. Hey.
There he is!
right there.
That's 4 feet in the air.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Let's see if I can find him here on the camera. There we go. Easy to spot, eh? No mistaken.
Flags up.
Flags up. The gig's up. The hunt is done. You're pretty calm
300.
for a guy who shot a nice trophy moose.
Holy, look at him. Wow. Yes.
He's bigger than what we thought. What do you think?
Wow. Holy smokes. That's awesome. That's what we came up here for.
Yeah.
Holy. Nice. That is fantastic. Awesome.
Well, you know what that means, eh?
Here's the work starting now.
Oh,
Oh,
but it's a good kind of work.
I got some adrenaline. I'll be good. Wow. It's nice and thick and heavy. Big. Oh, fantastic. Well, today's day 5 of our hunt. Couldn't be more happier with this big guy. Last evening, with about 10 minutes of shooting time left, we were just doing our portage, and Leia let out probably the last call of the night, and we heard a crack in the bush like right away. We looked at each other. Did you hear that? Sure as heck. And we heard the oh, and it was game on. This guy circled around us a little bit and ended up getting him. And this morning we went for a walk looking for him, and well, spent about an hour looking and found him not too far away from where the action took place. So.
Yeah, nice big bull. Yeah, there's no mistaking that. Oh, and he was close, like within 70 yards when we heard it. So there was, unfortunately, we couldn't get it on camera. The camera light wasn't good enough, and Scott wasn't about to pass up a bull like this. And my feelings aren't hurt at all. Like, look at the smile on his face. Trophy of a lifetime. I'm sure it's going to be pushing the 50-inch mark. So, and the nice thing is we got meat to bring back to our families.
Yeah,
And the wives.
Not too far from the canoe either.
Yeah, not too far from the canoe either. And the wives won't be disappointed. We got meat for the winter, so a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of work, but it was all worth it.
Sure was.
How many moose have you shot in, Scott?
2.
Any of this size?
No. No.
You're gonna remember this one?
You betcha, yeah. Really thankful. It was awesome.
Oh, that's what these adventures are all about, eh?
Well, this is the last load. Got the rack and everything. If you look behind us there on that island and the lake there, that's where our camp is. So that's where we're putting this load in the canoe, and we'll head over there and unload it into the shade. Get it out of this heat if we can.
So here we are on day 6. The camera's sitting right where we've been sleeping for the last 6 nights. And we got the tent down and the gear's all stockpiled on shore waiting for our float plane to arrive. But we got a report on the forecast for the next couple days, and we're talking 20-degree temperatures, so the meat's got to come out. But all in all, it was a pretty good hunt. What do you think, Scott?
It was awesome. Great
Was
time.
it worth the adventure?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Is it the big guy that you thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
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 So as Scott says, it was a great adventure. And what we probably haven't shared with you guys is about 10 weeks ago, Scott had a torn right bicep, and this was supposed to be an archery hunt. But obviously Scott couldn't do his archery practice throughout the summer, so we ended up with the rifle. But I think one memory that's going to stand out for Scott is when a certain individual was doing some paperwork, and a big, not a big bull, but a nice bull came right in on the island. You guys saw the footage earlier, and that would have been a great bow shot for sure, but then we would have never seen this guy. So this is the way, this is the bull that Scott really wanted, a nice mature trophy bull, and I'm glad that we got him one. So as you can see by Scott's bug jacket, the bugs have been pretty bad, so this is going to be one of the quickest closings that you see here from Coyote Country, but we hope you enjoyed this adventure. I know we didn't get the money shot here on camera, but sometimes it's not all about the kill shot, it's all about the adventure, and that's why we came out here. And hopefully we see you next time on Coyote Country.
Thanks a lot, Leo.
No problem, man. Anytime. Well, another successful trip in the books for Coyote Country. Actually, looking back, it was a great season in regards to the diversity of species that we pursued. We hunted bighorn sheep, black bear, white-tailed deer, mule deer, wood bison, and not to mention lake sturgeon and ringneck pheasant.
And let's not forget the exciting coyote hunts. But before we sign off, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for their support and all of the landowners for granting us permission to hunt on their land.
Yes, not to mention all the friends, family, fans, and co-workers that have encouraged us on to pursue our passions. Hats off to everyone for their support. We're not sure what the fate or future is of Coyote Country, but whatever happens, we hope you enjoyed what our team has worked hard at capturing and sharing with you, and hopefully we'll see you again.
With that being said, this is Coyote Country officially signing off. Coyote Country was proudly presented by CR Backwoods.